Hello there, everyone. Welcome to GamePoints episode 223, your weekly get-together where we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Steven Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David. Marvel Avengers gets shown off a bit, Mixer comes to an unceremonious end, Rocksteady, might be making a Suicide Squad game, and more. But before we get into any of that, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday, or in this case Wednesday, at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at Twitch TV/GamePoints, please feel free to join in the conversation with any comments, questions, concerns, etc. you might have. If you can't join us live, you can always catch old shows over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Either way you're at and watching this, feel free to join the conversation. Just try to keep it germane to the topics on hand. David?
Yes.
We actually have a decent chunk of real gaming news that's just not business or anything like that to get through. But before we really kick things off on here, I was torn between what I should pick to cover this week, because there was some shit that's been going down as far as the gaming press and the Twitch side of things go.
Yep.
And I almost wanted to talk about it, and I'll mention real quickly. There's like a wave of harassment claims going around through the gaming industry right now. A lot of people coming out and saying, "Hey, so and so did horrible shit." IGN, full disclosure, I worked at IGN for about 5 months on a behind-the-scenes project that never really took off. And I worked with some of these people that are getting accused. The bunch of old people who worked at IGN did some horrible shit allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly for all this because we have no hard evidence, but there are a bunch of accusations out there right now.
This also isn't the first time.
It's not the
I
first
think we talked about this like a year ago.
Yeah,
and now
agreed.
it's just back with a vengeance.
Twitch is currently banning a shit ton of people. The ban hammer is going around on that. It's all stuff that I am on the outside of, but know some of the people involved to varying degrees. I'm not like buddy with them, but I've had multiple conversations with some of these people. I've worked alongside some of these people for a little while. I wanted to acknowledge that this shit is happening right now, and if you want to read up more about it, please go and do so. But I also know that I am not going to be able to give this topic the due diligence and discretion that it deserves. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to be getting into too many details on what's going on. I encourage everyone.
Short version, a lot of people are shitty. They remain shitty. And they should stop being shitty. Yeah. And we will once again go to one of our many mantras, be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
And as much as we love to say don't be dicks on the internet, that goes double for real life.
Yeah. So just go read some of this shit. Regardless of what anyone is saying, remember hyperbole is very much a thing that happens on the internet. People tend to go from 0 to 60 real quick. A few of these allegations have already been proven false, but a lot of them I have very strong belief are true. So just read and do your research on your own and come up to your own conclusions. That's the word I was looking for. Conclusions. I couldn't think of the goddamn word. But yeah, that's the long and the short. I just wanted to go ahead and get out of the way because all this started popping off about 72 hours ago and has not fucking stopped. And it seems about once a year to once every 18 months or so, there's like this Steam release. There's not Steam, the platform, but like this pressure cooker valve that just blurts everywhere, and then it dies down for another 18 months, and then it happens again. So definitely take a look at what's going on and make up your own mind of what you think is happening there.
Well, in an ideal world, people will actually stop being shitty at some point, and then we won't have this big pressure cooker because things will just be resolved like right as they happen. But
exactly.
It's a whole other thing, a little bit outside of our wheelhouse, very big in scope.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it out the gate. We are both aware it's going on, and yeah, I don't think that this particular show is a good place for us to talk about it, because I'm going to try to get super nuanced and into the weeds on things, which is just going to lead to weird situations, and I don't feel like dealing with it, to be quite honest with you. We also had another story that I was really tempted to bring up, and it was about someone who used to work for Blizzard, and then they got fired, but she was married to someone else, and he ended up getting banned in what seemed to be a retaliatory strike. But honestly, at this point, we all fucking know Blizzard sucks.
Yep,
we could
Blizzard
only
sucks.
Yeah, we can only beat a dead horse so many times. And this got so nebulous, and it really would only appeal to a very small audience, specifically this streamer's fans.
We could probably have a whole separate website that's just GamePoint presents reasons why Blizzard sucks.
Yeah.
And it would have a new article every week, and it would have an endless supply of things to read about why Blizzard sucks.
Exactly. So I'm aware that happened too, but I did not add any of that into the big stories of this week because, one, the internet moves fast, so that shit already feels dated, despite some of the things that we're talking about also feel dated. And two, it's so nebulous that it's so oddly specific that I don't think, once again, we can do it justice. But take a look at it on your own if you're interested in it. You could probably find it pretty quickly. Just put down Blizzard banned. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he banned someone from one of their competitive leagues. I think one of their Hearthstone leagues, something like that. I don't even know the full details of the story at the moment because I just didn't feel like it would be a good fit for this show this week. But they're important enough for me to just acknowledge that this shit's happening. Go take a look at it. David.
Yes.
Now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and get some other things this week. A lot of game information, a lot of detailed stuff coming out. A little bit bigger idea of what's coming up. Let's go ahead and start off with the fact that yesterday, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics showed a bit more of their Marvel Avengers game and what they were calling a war table, which is essentially Marvel Avengers Direct. Let's just be real here. Now, if you click on the link that's going to be provided down below there, if you're watching this on YouTube, it shows it's an hour and a half long. It's really not. The first 30 minutes are just a timer countdown. The last 30 minutes are artwork, screens, conceptual art. 30 minutes of it, though, is solid information. Now, did you take a look at this at all, David?
I only watch clips because I didn't watch the whole stream. I just try and watch for like new stuff on Avengers because, let's be real, I am almost completely disinterested in this Avengers game.
I am more or less in the same boat.
I like Marvel as a property. I'm a self-professed more of a DC fan, and I always have been. So the idea of playing as Marvel characters is cool, but it's not my favorite. And there's that whole, they didn't make it different enough from the Marvel films in that it feels in like that kind of like realistic setting, and we just spent the last 10 years going through like the Infinity War saga, and so everything just feels a little off.
That's what I actually have that in my notes down at the bottom here. I'll go ahead.
I wish it was a little bit more, I don't even want to say cartoony, but think of the way that like the Spider-Man game looks compared to a Spider-Man movie, and it's got a little bit more of that comic book flair.
I said this back in 2019. Its style flies too close to the sun of the MCU. It's like they're trying to be a little too close to it, and as such, it falls into that uncanny valley thing where you're looking at it and you're like, I get what they're going for, but it needs to be it feels like a knockoff. It feels like you would see like the toys that are released in the flea markets everywhere where they sell like not Thor, but it's like,
and that's kind of a bummer. It's like kind of a shitty criticism because it does look like it could be pretty fun to play. It looks like it's got a like set piece moments, and it looks like, you know, the combat might be kind of cool. I'm kind of worried about the whole monetization aspect or how they're going to deal with characters and all that other stuff. But that's beside the point. I just think from a raw way the game looks, I wish it was more comic booky.
Yes.
I think I would like that more.
It's not stylistic enough. I know that sounds weird, but they're clearly trying to cash in on the MCU things. And honestly, it just... Yeah, Captain Ice Cold in chat saying right here, totally agree. It's really uncanny, but I personally am growing on more footage I see. And I wish it was just they had tweaked the models a bit to vary from the MCU. I know how to read. I sure you know how to read. And that's my stance on it as well there, Captain Ice Cold. If they would just tweak it a little bit to be more unique rather than trying to make everyone look like Mark Ruffalo and RDJ and all that, I think I'd be far more into
they're trying to look like the stunt doubles of all those characters.
Yeah.
Because they don't actually look like the actors. But like I said, the gameplay looks like it could be pretty damn fun. This game looks like it might be sweet, but it's just, I don't know. I don't love the art style, and that's a completely subjective thing, and it's kind of a shitty thing to drag on a game that's not even out yet, especially when you know that Crystal Dynamics is probably working their asses off on it. But
I don't think this game has shown very well either, and I don't necessarily fault the game itself. We talked about this last week with Gran Turismo 7 and how we're at a point where you're trying to show off 4K 60 frames a second on streams that are 1080 30 FPS.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
The frame rate on this stream looked fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be an artifact of the stream and not gameplay. That said, everything about the gameplay here screams games as service to me, which is a trend that feels dated as fuck at this point, because it feels like they're trying to jump on that Destiny train. Only with Marvel. What I mean by that is, it is single-player co-op like Destiny. You go around and you unlock new gear, you get new items to level up, which gives you access to more levels as it goes on. I know this could be applied to any video game.
You can call it Division. Right,
or Division,
third person. It's that. This is the game you play a lot of. This is the game you play.
It feels custom made to suck up your time, and those games to me are already starting to feel dated. Like what's out there has my time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need another game where I need to log on and do work.
My only issue with that, taking that style, it's the same reason why I bounced off of like the DC Universe Online or whatever, DC Online games, stuff like that, is that superheroes kind of on paper are power fantasy characters.
Yes.
And when you take that and you add the MMO-ness of all of these service games of like bullet sponge enemies, things like that, it ruins. If I'm playing as fucking Thor and there's a tank and I smash it with lightning and a big-ass hammer, and I'm the god of thunder, and that thing doesn't immediately explode into a million pieces, I'm out.
I've already got Mjolnir. Why do I need to upgrade Mjolnir anymore? It's fucking Mjolnir.
It's just, that's my only issue, right? Because there's parts of the trailer where the Hulk is punching regular human-sized enemies.
Yeah, they would be dead.
And they have life bars, and they're not immediately turned into paste.
Yeah, there is a disconnect there because they have to like gimp your characters.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense because it has to be a video game and you have to have a reason to keep playing it. And, you know, I guess everybody's just a robot and it just takes more hits to kill things. And it is what it is. They have to explain it and they have to make it fun. It's just, come on, man.
It falls into the category of why it's so hard to make a good Superman game.
Yeah. Because the only way you can make a good Superman game is to focus on story, because you can't make the gameplay of a dude that's outrageously powerful satisfying. When you're watching some of the other gameplay, like some of the Ms. Marvel stuff looks cool, some of the Iron Man stuff looks cool, and I don't know. I think it just kind of depends on the hero, right? I almost would rather have a bunch of individual hero games.
I will say, in full disclosure, a lot of my enthusiasm for this game has been killed because they literally, and they mentioned this in fucking 2019 in the reveal trailer, the one hero that I want to play in the MCU, they fucking kill off in like the first mission. They don't have Captain America, because the whole idea of why the Avengers are separated right now is because they fucked something up and Captain America's dead. So even the one that I would want to play isn't even in this game. So
yeah,
that's just a personal thing though. What can I say? Back to the games as service thing too. They're already setting you up for like, I keep using Destiny 2 as the example because we're both playing Destiny 2 right now. It's kind of got like a lot of buzz right now. This trailer, or this war table, whatever you want to call it, mentions repeatedly all the costumes, outfits, looks you get, and I quote, some of which will only be available on their online marketplace. So you can already see where they're going to try to milk the money from you through the microtransactions. And the connection to this to Destiny is the Eververse store. So if you're fine with the Eververse store in Destiny, and to a degree I actually kind of am, you'll be fine with what they seem to be going on here. Additionally, they kept talking about new things being released over time at no additional cost. That sounds a lot like they're trying to put in the seasonal, possibly even battle pass style thing on this. Because when you have the games as a service, the big draw to that is reoccurring spending. And while they didn't mention things like seasons or battle pass or detail their marketplace, they mentioned there will be an online marketplace, but they didn't give details on it. I guarantee you this game is going to have all of that on there. Because as far as I know, Square doesn't have that specific style of monetization yet. They have the subscription with Final Fantasy XIV Lockdown, but they don't have like the Fortnite-esque get them in
they don't have the game that keeps making money.
Yeah. What do you think about those being in this game, Dave? Is that a deal breaker for you at all?
Okay, so here's where I have to tailor this and fully admit my like brand horritude, right?
Okay.
I am not, because I had to think about it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I am not overly excited for this game. I think it looks fun, but I'm not sold on it, and all the microtransactions and all that stuff. I probably won't have the time to play this. That being said, if this was the exact same game but Justice League instead of Avengers, I would probably pick it up day one.
So it's a matter of theme and setting for you.
Exactly. So that's I don't think that any part of what I've seen of this game is a deal breaker from a game standpoint if I was a huge Marvel fan. Like if Marvel was my jam and my comic book shelf was filled with Marvel books, I would probably be all over this. But it's not, and I'm not.
Fair enough. I am. So here's the weird thing, David. I'm very, very lukewarm on this game. But that is a significant improvement to where I was a year ago when it was first shown off.
Oh, because you were like actively derisive of it. You're like, if we don't need this shit. Well, yeah. Who would want this?
And it still looks dated. It still looks dumb as fuck. But as I have started to see games of service become a genre onto itself, I have an idea of what I'm getting into it now. And there's nothing in here that I see that looks to be surprising to me. In fact, I'm willing to bet that we can kind of guess exactly how this is going to play and exactly how this is going to feel. Just based on what we're seeing alone. Now, is that fair of me? No. But there are patterns here. There are patterns here.
And you know what? If the Iron Man gameplay feels at all like Anthem, then screw it. Maybe I still want this game.
I don't think it is.
It's just going to be better than Anthem. I'm telling you right now,
it's not going to be. Without, because not everyone can fly. So they right then and there, you have to think that they have to cater traversal to the lowest common denominator if they want 4-player co-op. And you can, and you're not all Iron Man. That means Hulk's going to be on the ground.
Yeah, he can jump. He'll be fine.
Black Widow is going to be on the ground.
She's got a grappling hook. She'll be fine.
Okay. And you know what I'm saying. There are characters that are going to be somewhere that will not have the mobility as, like, say, Iron Man or Spider-Man, who is not being shown off on here because I think there might be some licensing problems.
Well, I just think like there's stuff you could do to get around that, and I'll go back to, yes, I did try and play that DC Online game, and at the very beginning when you're like making your superhero, you choose your like movement style, and there's characters that can fly, and there's characters that have super speed, and there's characters that can crazy jump, and then there's characters that are just Batman equivalents and use grappling hooks and stuff like that.
Yes, but if you could fly, could you actively like did they cap you like at a skybox?
If you can fly, you beat your team to the objectives.
Okay, that's cool. If this game does that, cool. I just don't see it doing that. I'm not saying it can't happen. I just don't see it. It feels like they would have to, like I said, get it to the lowest common denominator. I could be wrong on that. We'll see. Either way, though. And as I mentioned, I know it feels weird to say I was lukewarm on this trailer, but it's actually grown on me because where I was a year ago, it's just I didn't like it. Now it is a hard meh. I know how this is going to work out, David. This has gone into the realm of fuck. Now I have to take a look at it and play around with it a little bit.
Yep.
Because despite all of this, despite that it looks, to me, it still looks like a mid-generation PlayStation 4 game or an early generation PlayStation 4 game. Something about it's off. But that could be an artifact of the stream.
Yep.
Despite the fact...
And what if it's, when you actually get the game, it's silky smooth 60 FPS the entire time?
Exactly. Despite the fact that this is being broadcast as a games service and is screaming that to me, and that itself is already... I already maxed out on time on those. Despite all of that, I know at this point I have to at least play it for a couple hours because there's enough potential here. And at the end of the day, that's all. And
maybe the story is completely dynamite.
I don't expect the story to be that dynamite. When you break things up onto this like this, you run into that Games of the Service problem where they drip feed you the story.
Yep.
And then you run into the Destiny problem or the Division problem where...
But I'm not even thinking of this game at launch. I'm thinking of what's Avengers going to look like 6 years from now.
That's certainly what they're hoping for, right? They're hoping that this game goes 6 years. The question is it worth the investment? Is this game going to be around for 6 years? Because not many of them last that long.
And it'll go for 3 years, 3.5, and then it'll go free to play.
Or they'll just make Avengers 2.
Or they'll make Avengers
2.
And
then you have the Destiny 2 problem where everything that you have in Destiny 1 means fuck all.
Yep.
Anyways, let us know what you guys think about the Marvel Avengers War Table conference that they showed down below in the comments or here live at twitch.tv/GamePoints that Captain Ice Cold is doing into a couple of lurkers as well. I want to know what people... I really do want to know what people think about this one because I have my opinions on it and I don't know if mine are... I can't even begin to tell you if I'm in the majority opinion or I'm out on a limb here. This game is... For coming out this year and for being such a big IP, it feels like there is just no buzz about this game at all. It's like no one fucking cares.
I know Marvel fans that are like head over heels excited for this.
I get the feeling that most people have been since the beginning in the spot that I am now with it, but they go, okay, I'll give it a shot. But there doesn't seem to be any salivating for it, which, at the end of the day, I think might work in this game's favor. Because if you keep expectations low...
If it's not overhyped and a game comes out and it is a solid, 8 out of 10 game, they might do well just off word of mouth. Like, hey, guess what? It doesn't suck.
I call that the Dying Light effect.
Yeah.
David?
Yes.
You're a bigger DC fan than I am, as we have established. So why don't you go ahead and take over this next story? I'm kind of curious to know what you think of this.
So this story is from Eurogamer, and it is something that we have been speculating on and reporting rumors on for a year now. What is Rocksteady doing? What has Rocksteady been doing? Well, from Eurogamer, we're thinking that the Batman Arkham developer Rocksteady is making a Suicide game. Again, this is still rumor, still not confirmed, but it's new rumors, so we're going to talk about it anyway. A list of leaked domain names have set internet tongues wagging that Rocksteady, developer of the Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and etc. games, are working on a game centered on DC's Suicide Squad. The domain names popped up Sunday on Resetera, where fans noted they were registered by a company connected to Warner Brothers. Eurogamer understands this to be accurate. One particular phrase registered as domain Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.com is a contender for the game's final title, and a good summation of what you can expect Rocksteady's next big project to be about.
I can already see that marketing, because they would write that in the same way that the Birds of Prey movie had their shit, where it's like it would be like Suicide Squad and then written in some graffiti. Stylistic font under their graffiti. Yeah.
Why not?
No, it's bad. I hate that shit.
This
isn't a Fiona Apple song. You can't or album. You can't just name it this giant fucking paragraph. Keep your goddamn titles brief.
Tell me how you really feel. And GothamKnightsGame.com. Gotham Knights refers to the unannounced Batman game currently in development at Batman Arkham Origins studio, Warner Brothers Montreal. Both projects are set to be teased at Warner Brothers' upcoming DC fandom event in August, Eurogamer understands. If they make a Suicide Squad game and use the bones of the Arkham games that aren't Origins, I will probably play it.
So, two things I want to get out of the way. One, the Gotham Knight game is what the Court of Owls bullshit they were teasing a few months ago. Remember when Twitter was revealing one slow image every month? That's going to be your Gotham Knights game. That is separate from what Rocksteady is working on. If, in fact, it is a Suicide Squad game, I really, really want to play, especially if you're hunting the Justice League.
Hell yeah.
I love the idea of actively hunting the Justice League. And don't do that thing where it's like, oh, no, they all got away. No, give me a fucking injustice version of this, where it's an alternate universe, and I am actually killing Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and fucking Batman, who is going to be the final boss, or Superman, depending. I actively
story branches. Who do you go for first?
I actively want to be fighting these people. If you're going to go Suicide Squad and you're going with the tagline "Kill the Justice League," then fucking give me that game and don't half-ass out on me. I know you guys have done it. You did it with. I'm talking specifically about DC.
I mean, I guess because Suicide Squad is traditionally, captured villains.
And also, like, not
And
necessarily bad, but anti-heroes.
Yeah, and they're normally set off on like missions by like Amanda Waller and all them to do whatever the hell America wants them to do, and it's less of a we are our own group of bad guys that are out to destroy the Justice League. Like,
you're usually not playing like Luthor or Brainiac or
they're not
Joker.
like the Injustice Society or like any of those guys.
It's the people who are the anti-heroes like Deadshot or I'm blanking out on Suicide Squad members.
I really wanted to see.
Who's the guy that I like? I know
Captain Boomerang.
Not Captain Boomerang. Fuck. Fought with Teen Titans all the time.
Oh, Slade.
Yeah. What's his? What Deathstroke?
Deathstroke.
Fuck. I actually like Deathstroke. I can't. I think he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I were to play Deathstroke in that game, that would okay. I'm good with that.
Sounds fun.
But I get the feeling they're going to kind of bitch out on it. Because the tagline "Kill the Justice League," I'm all in for. But I think they're going to bitch out on it. We'll see.
Yeah, it might just be a joke written on the wall somewhere.
We'll see.
But like I said, this has less information, no gameplay trailers whatsoever, and I'm already more excited for it than I am for the Avengers game.
Fair enough. One thing I can say
with certainty, incapable of remaining objective.
One thing I can say for certainty, and if they actually did it, I'd be pissed. This game will not let you play as the Joker. Nor should you be allowed to play as the Joker.
No,
that motherfucker is beyond any of you.
You cannot have somebody who's trying to plan the moves for the Joker. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Unless I'm going to play it true to form, and they say, go to this quest marker, and I'm going to, fuck you, I'm going to explore the rest of the city and blow shit up.
And
then somehow it all works out.
The only time you could actually play the Joker and have it make any sense was in Infinite Crisis. Because that game was a MOBA, and it didn't have to make sense.
Fair enough.
Because it was about all the universes crashing into each other.
It's a good premise for a MOBA. I mean, that's essentially League of Legends right there.
Yeah, dude, that's how I got like Gaslight Joker and like Nightmare Robin and Batman and shit. I miss that game every day.
Either way, I'm sure that, I've been saying I'm sure we'll hear more information on this shit soon, but
we've been saying that for 2 years.
The last Arkham game was 2015. Do you know that? Not counting the shitty mobile shit. There was like a mobile game in 2016 or something like that, but Arkham Knight was 2015. Now, I'm a big fan of games not revealing themselves until like 3 months before they release. So if they come out in August and say, hey, this shit's coming in October, fucking awesome. I'm all for it.
I'd be super down for that.
But that's not what they've been doing. WB has been slow jerking this fucking thing for like years at this point. And I'm tired of it. Just tell me what you're making at this point. David, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. And we're going to read a little bit into the trees on this one. I'm going to kind of bust out the tea leaves. The important part isn't what the story itself is as much as what I think this means for the future of this license and their deal. Headline via GameSpot, EA says it will double down on Star Wars games going forward. With Star Wars, EA has one of the most sought-after licenses in all of entertainment, and the company has plans to take full advantage of it. In a fireside chat, EA executives spoke how the company plans to, quote, double down on Star Wars after a huge success of Star Wars Battlefront 1, 2, Galaxy of Heroes, and Jedi Fallen Order more recently. Up is my hope. Up and to the right, EA CEO Andrew Wilson said about where he hopes the company Star Wars takes in the future. We have a tremendous relationship with Disney and a tremendous relationship with Lucas. We have a long-standing relationship with them going all the way back to Star Wars The Old Republic that we launched in 2011. Even if Squadron doesn't sell as well as EA's other Star Wars games, Wilson said he's happy with the breadth of games he has created from its partnership with Disney and Lucas. David.
Yes.
As we have talked about, the EA Disney Star Wars deal was only supposed to be for 10 years. That date is quickly coming.
It's also funny because at some point when they switched to their CEO, it was, man, EA is going to make some Star Wars games, and then, fuck Star Wars. Let's not make any Star Wars games. And they managed to shit out, 4 Star Wars games in 10 years? 5 Star Wars games in 10 years? Just a very insignificant number considering that was...
With how valuable this franchise is, they should have had at least another 3 out by now.
They should have had 2 games launched the year that Force Awakens came out, or the year immediately following it.
Yep, absolutely.
There had been so much time, but then they Battlefront 2'd all over everything and had to slow down. And it's not like they're a completely incompetent studio. EA has made some good damn video games.
I like Fallen Order.
And I'm excited if they want to actually make Star Wars, and please do the thing where you actually start exploring the rest of the universe. Don't just give me another Battlefront game.
That's why I like Fallen Order so much.
But I want more.
They've canceled. EA's canceled 2 high-profile. There was 1313 they whacked.
Yep.
And then there was Amy Henig's Star Wars Uncharted, which there was a code name for it, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Ragtag, I think.
I would have played that. I would play a tactics game set in universe.
Both those sounded amazing.
Like, I just think outside the box. To me, it's the 40K problem, right? There's the license for 40K, and there's a million different games for it, because at some point they said, screw it, everybody can make a game. And there's some awesome ones, and there's some bad ones, but it has the advantage of at least they're all different, and there's a little bit of something for everybody. I would almost rather have that than what we get now, which is like this weird drip feed of Star Wars content.
Well, unfortunately, David, I don't think everyone getting a shot at the pie is going to be what happens, because EA's deal with Disney will be expiring soon. Not weeks, but soon enough. What they didn't say, but I think you can allude to pretty well, is the fact that Andrew Wilson would be coming out and saying, we're going to be doubling down on Star Wars games with how little time they have left on their exclusivity agreement, unless he was damn near certain they were going to extend the agreement again.
Yep, or they're in negotiations and they have to say the right things to keep Disney happy.
And I would say it's probably going very well for them, considering that how well Fallen Order actually did for EA. They've kind of turned the negative perception of them around. I know that the people like us, the people that are obsessive about this industry, look at EA and Star Wars and see kind of a clusterfuck. Doesn't change the fact that Star Wars Battlefront 2 sold a shit ton of copies.
That's true.
It's the long and the short of it. EA Disney's problem was the image of gambling in Star Wars games. EA took that out quickly, I might add, if you recall, when the rumor was Disney called them up, went, "What the fuck are you doing?" To me, this assures, at least in Wilson's mind, he is positive that they're going to get another 10-year extension, and I don't see why he wouldn't think that, because EA will fucking spend a shit ton of money to get those exclusive licenses. They do it every year with Madden, for example. They just re-upped the Madden deal.
Yep.
For, I can't remember if it's another 5 or 10 years. So this is just what EA does.
They'll spend the money because they have the money, as long as they, think it's going to continue to make them money.
Right. So if you're one of the people that were hoping that Disney would break their license, and for a little bit it looked like, because Disney's kind of bringing everything back to themselves and then licensing various things out to other studios.
Yeah, but they also shut down their own game studio, right? So
yeah. That's what I mean. They're bringing back the IPs to themselves and then going, you're good at handling this, handle this. You were good at handling this, handle this. For a second, there was a theory that Disney might do the same with Star Wars, bring that back in, and then instead of giving one publisher the exclusive rights to it, piecemeal it out. I don't think that's happening anymore. I think I am, based on what Wilson here is alluding to with his doubling down on Star Wars games, I am pretty goddamn sure that is going to stay 100% under EA's umbrella. So if you're hoping for a return of LucasArts in some way, shape, or form, or maybe Square makes a Star Wars game, or insert whatever here, I don't think it's going to happen. Sorry to break it to you.
How long until EA completely abandons Anthem and make a Star Wars-based service game?
Four years. I want to give a real answer to this. 4 years.
Right.
And the reason why I say
because
4 years.
If they keep the license, it's coming.
Yeah.
We all know it's coming. Yep. There's no reason not to.
So what's going to happen is, I wanted to actually stop and think about it. That's why I paused real quick. It's all hands on deck for BioWare on Dragon Age 4 right now. If Dragon Age 4 bombs, BioWare's gone. Anthem be damned.
Mm-hmm.
BioWare goes away, Anthem 2.0, whatever they're calling it. Right now, Anthem 2.0 or whatever, Anthem Next or whatever you want to call it, has like a skeleton crew working on it. You wouldn't just have that game sitting in limbo like that if EA actually cared about it, or if the magnifying glass wasn't on BioWare to go, you better fucking perform with Dragon Age 4. No. So, scenario 1, Dragon Age 4 bombs, BioWare's done. They're gone. As a studio, the end. Thank you very much for the 30 years of memories. You're out. If Dragon Age 4 succeeds, Anthem 2.0 is a go, not so much to recover Anthem as Anthem, but to test out all the shit that they would want to put into that Star Wars live service game.
Because that's what I was thinking. Imagine taking some of that jetpack action from Anthem, but you're a bounty hunter.
Yeah. So that would be that if EA re-ups the agreement, if Dragon Age 4 is a success, Anthem Next or Anthem 2 or whatever you want to call it will be your testing bed for whatever would go into that live service Star Wars game. Because that's the holy grail right now. Mm-hmm. Games as service, Fortnite-esque. Here's our battle pass like Fortnite and Destiny and Division. I think Division has one. I'm not positive on that. But
I'm sure it does.
EA doesn't have that. And you know their investors are going, where's our Fortnite? You have fucking Star Wars. Where's our Fortnite? And that's what they tried to do with Anthem. You could tell they tried to do it with Anthem. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work. So Anthem will be a goodwill release with a microtransaction store for smaller things, but it will never be huge. It will be relegated to the equivalent of the Old Republic MMO right now. That would be where Anthem ends up at, where it's still supported, but it's not the focus. And it will be their testing bed for a Star Wars version of it. I am basing that on nothing rather than just rampant speculation. So don't hold me to that if that doesn't work out. That's
why I asked the question.
That's just where I see that going.
Speculation is our specialty.
Hey, and you know the fun thing is you only remember when I'm right.
Exactly.
So I could be wrong about this and no one's going to remember. But if I'm right about this, no one's going to remember.
And even if you're right, I'm just going to keep mentioning the fact that, remember when I talked about the Star Wars service game?
David, why don't you go ahead and lead us off on this next topic here?
This is from Engadget. Crash Bandicoot 4 was announced with probably the best title of any late sequel to happen. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Shut up, dude. That's amazing. 3 years after Activision revived Crash Bandicoot with updated versions of the original 3 games, the Orange Critter is back with his first brand new adventure since 2008. Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time is a direct sequel to the PlayStation 1 trilogy, foregoing the Wrath of Cortex and all of the other main series games since then. Crash 4 picks up sometimes after the event of Crash Bandicoot Warped, decades after Neo Cortex, Dr. N. Trophy, and Uka Uka were stranded on a distant planet. The villains manage to escape but leave a giant hole in the space-time fabric. They'll once again try to rule the multiverse, but a certain pair of marsupials will have something to say about
It's the worst kept secret in gaming. I know we say that a lot, but everyone knew this was coming.
I think it's smart. I think it's great. I think it's exciting. I think that the stills that I've seen actually look pretty damn good.
The time for a new mascot, it is the time for the mascot platformer right now. People are craving it.
I'm probably not going to play it. I don't have a huge interest in playing a new Crash game. But that being said, that remaster Crash thing sold gangbusters. It did super well. There's no reason not to make this game.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense.
So good on you guys. Get it.
We got 2 more stories before we wrap up the news of this week. The next one I might get a little ranty on. We'll see. I don't know if I'll get ranty on it or not. The next one, Mixer is dead. Farewell, Mixer. Unceremoniously had the plug pulled on it on Monday. They simply released a blog post that stated the following. Ultimately, the success of partners and streamers on Mixer is dependent on our ability to scale the platform for this quickly and broadly as possible. It became clear that the time needed to grow in our live streaming community to scale out the measure with the vision and experiences Microsoft and Xbox One to deliver for gamers now. Hold on, I feel like I've missed something here. It became clear that the time needed to grow our live streaming community to scale was out of measure with the vision and experiences that Microsoft wanted to deliver for games from now, so we decided to close operative side of Mixer and help the community transition to a new platform. To better serve our community's needs, we're teaming up with Facebook to enable Mixer community transition to the Facebook gaming. Sorry, I skipped an entire sentence. My eyes went from one thing to another and it skipped the important part. Mixer just unceremoniously shut down on Monday. Didn't bother to tell anyone until they told everyone.
Didn't tell any of their streamers, any of their partners, anybody. Just this big giant announcement of, hey, guess what? Now you guys are on Facebook.
Are they shut off as of immediately, or is there like we're closing October 2nd? I think they just closed. I think they just pulled the plug on it. I should have looked that up. I think they're just done. Hope you like Facebook gaming, or hope you enjoy getting a brand new start on Twitch. So that sucks. Now I know the joke has been Mixer pulls in no numbers, and well, this proves that Mixer pulled in no numbers.
Yeah.
How?
It's also a really shitty thing to do.
If the platform's not making money, platform's not making money. I understand needing to close things. I just kind of wish they would have been like, hey, we're closing in like a month. I don't think they did. If someone could let me know if they pulled the plug on Mixer immediately, or if it's like a month
URL doesn't bring up anything.
Oh shit! Really?
Maybe it's loading. Maybe it's loading. I'm trying to find any streams on Mixer.
From what it's one of those things where I think they closed immediately, but I actually realized I never really looked up to check that because everyone's just screaming on the internet, and I just kind of took the internet for what it was saying, and I should have double checked that, so I apologize.
Oh, there are still a couple streams going. 145 viewers, 11 viewers, 63 viewers. You know,
man, I wish we could pull those numbers.
They're killing it.
Two big names on Mixer, however, Ninja and Shroud, are walking away like fucking bandits. Because remember, there was a while where Mixer was essentially paying big names on Twitch to make exclusive deals with Mixer. Well, Mixer is closing, but they still have to honor those contracts.
Yeah,
so
their contract didn't say you have a contract with Facebook. Your contract said you have a contract with Mixer.
And from what I understand, and this is all rumor and speculation, Facebook Gaming was offering double what Mixer was paying. Like in the case of Ninja, I think Ninja was making, he was either making $20 or $30 million.
30. It was $30 million for Ninja, $10 million for Shroud.
Okay. The rumor is Facebook Gaming offered him $60 million.
And he said no.
And Ninja went no.
Both of them said no.
Yeah, and Shroud also said no. So they're coming back to Twitch because why would you fucking go from one platform that was not pulling numbers to a platform that pulls even less?
Yep.
So yeah, Mixer is closed. A lot of people just lost their fucking jobs. There was no, from what I understand, once again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, it is immediate essentially. I don't think there's necessarily going to be any sunsetting. People are already fleeing the platform, trying to get deals with Twitch and Facebook Gaming and all that good stuff. I can understand why they're trying to push to Facebook Gaming because for the most part, Microsoft and Facebook have a very, very friendly relationship. Remember, they are essentially Oculus deals between the two. Facebook Gaming is already giving partner status to people who are already partnered with Mixer. But imagine if you were like a Twitch streamer who wasn't fucking paid to go over there like Ninja was. Mm-hmm. And you go, I'm going to Mixer because I think there's potential growth here. It's a risk. I appreciate the people who took the risk, but you figure you jump over how much of your audience actually comes with you. And then when you go back from Mixer, you have a choice. Either come crawling back to Twitch and hope people come back again, or you could try again on Facebook Gaming, which is already a lower viewed platform than Mixer was, I believe. I don't have the hard numbers in front of me, so once again, don't quote me on that.
I'm just going to assume it because, fuck Facebook.
It is such a shitty situation. One that I understand. One that I wish that would be like, hey, 2 months, we're going to wind things down. And that might be what they're doing. I'm not positive. But I know a lot of people are saying, hey, out of the blue on Monday. And I even started this conversation with saying, hey, perhaps you should tell people before you make it public, etc. But let's be honest here. I started thinking about this as we were talking. If Mixer went to, say, their top 50 people and went, hey, this is what's happening, do you really think this wouldn't have been leaked on the internet almost immediately?
That's fair.
There is no way they could have notified.
Because everybody would have just immediately been calling Twitch to try and get deals.
Yeah, not only that, but someone would have went, fuck it, this happened. I don't have a contract. So there really is no way to tell people this is happening. They could have, and then you go, well, what about the employees working for Mixer?
They could have also at least sent out like a private email detailing what happens to them at the same time they released a public-facing blog post.
Yes, that
as
probably
opposed
also
to just the public-facing blog post.
They might have. I don't know the details on that, but definitely might have. If they did that, if they didn't do that, they should have. But the more I start thinking about this, I'm already kind of walking back how I started off this. Because originally, I was pissed off. It's like, the fuck? You didn't bother telling when you just released this post? But the more I think about it, it's like, how could they have? You tell 10 people, you think it wouldn't be immediately online? It's just the nature of the beast. So maybe I'm not as upset with Microsoft announcing that they're closing down Mixer the way they did, because they really didn't have a choice. That said, if they did not, they should be emailing also, hey, here's the internal email. To all of our partners, here's this email. But you do kind of have to do all this simultaneously at this point. You can't piecemeal it out. It's just something I was thinking about as we were talking about that, and I started to backtrack. Anyways, that is that. We have one more story, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into the weeds on this one. Headlines from Bloomberg, so you already know it's going to be dry as fuck. Nintendo chills mobile ambitions after Animal Crossing success. Long story short, I'm not going to bother reading the article. You can read it if you want to down in the links below. I'll have it posted. But long story short, Nintendo seems to be pulling back from their mobile efforts because Animal Crossing made a shit ton of money for them on Switch.
A ridiculous amount of money. So much so that they don't need to make a mobile game. They don't need to bank mobile money.
Yeah,
they can make real money.
They're not getting the return on investment on mobile games that they're hoping for. Instead, they could probably just find other ways to monetize Animal Crossing or make like Mario Crossing.
That being said, there are still more. Like there's that Pokemon Cafe game that came out, which is a mobile title. There's a bunch of like random little Pokemon things.
I know there's a bunch of Pokemon news that happened within the past 24 hours. I won't get into it except to say this one thing. You are right to fear Tencent.
Pokemon Snap.
You are right to fear Tencent.
Because of the fact that they have a partnership with Nintendo and they're going to make a Pokemon-based MOBA.
You are right to fear Tencent.
That comes out on Switch.
You are right to fear Tencent.
It's also going to come out on mobile.
You are right to fear Tencent. Fear them. Fear TikTok. Fear Tencent.
Just be scared of all the things all the time.
Yes. David, that does it for the news of the week. We have one thing to watch if you're interested coming up this week. You have, starting tomorrow, June 25th, 2020 at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Night City Wire. Essentially, it's going to be the Cyberpunk 2077 Direct. We're already getting some teases about what's going to be coming from this. Expect additional trailers, gameplay, possibly some deep dive into how the game's actually going to function, which I don't think we've really gotten yet, other than that one demo they showed off, which was a behind the closed doors thing. Probably get a better idea of what this game is coming. Also, one sad thing, this was announced last week, Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again to November 19th. Now, I know both you and I have talked about the often misstated Miyamoto quote about a bad game is bad when it comes out, but a good game is good forever, or something along those lines. Essentially, take as much time as you want before you release it. But I also have a condition to that.
Oh, yeah?
Don't fucking date your game unless you're positive you can hit that date. This is the third or fourth delay. Now, I'm going to give it a little bit more leeway because of all the weird COVID shit going on, which has rightfully delayed a bunch of stuff.
No, I'm going to just hard disagree with you because CD Projekt Red have been upfront multiple times that all of their release dates are goals and the game will be done when it's done.
Then say it'll be done when it's done. Don't give a release date.
They've gone on the record saying that.
You can't say one thing with one hand and then promise something else with something else.
They can give you an idea of when they're trying to do something.
They should have said, hey, we're thinking maybe fall. We're thinking maybe even October. But when you date it, when you give a hard date, I'm not saying fuck CD Projekt Red, by the way. I just want to make that real clear. But when you give, and this is general, when you give a hard date to something, you're already putting that seed of commitment in someone's place. And one delay is acceptable. Weird shit happens. But when you date something and then you delay it, and then when you date something and then you delay it, and then when you date something again and you delay it again, people rightfully feel jerked around.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
That's why you keep shit nebulous. You go, hey.
Nope, don't care.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, if you don't care, you don't care. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm not the only one that thinks this.
I am aware of where you're coming from.
Yes.
And there are people that I am mad about when this happens. Right now.
Is it? Let me ask this, because you the way you phrase that, is it specifically because it's CD Projekt Red and you just have like absolute faith in them?
Because of The Witcher 3, they have a pass.
Okay, that's why I wanted to know. I wanted to know where you lied on this, because I was like, this is bullshit. Because we've both agreed about bitchy this in the past.
I've been mad at all kinds of people, but when it comes to this company and this game, they can push it to next year. I'd still show up.
Specifically, Okay, fair enough. I mean, if you hey, you don't have the courage of your convictions. That's all right. But yeah, you get what I'm saying though, right? It's like I would be far better if they said, even if they gave like a month, if they're like, hey, we're shooting for October. But it's something about when you date it and this happens, it just start irking me. Now, am I that upset? No. In the grand scheme of things, fuck it. I'm still gonna play. It's still probably gonna be really good. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'd rather they push it and they don't release it on any current gen consoles and it only comes out on next gen. To be brutally honest, I don't want this to be a current gen game.
Why?
Because that means they have to force it to work on current gen, which means inherently it is a worse video game than it was built for the next gen.
You don't think they could do something like make The Witcher 3 for PC and then eventually port it down and dumb it down? You don't think they're going that way with it?
That could happen, but there's no reason they would design a game from the ground up in that fashion.
Because it's all launching at once.
They are making it for what's out now, and it will be up-resed and upscaled to the newer systems. It will not be the opposite.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. From what I understand, too, a lot of these delays, and once again, rumor, speculation, scuttlebutt, a lot of these delays aren't really caused by the COVID or anything like that. They're caused because they're having a bitch of a time making it run on specifically the PlayStation 4. Like, the not pro version of PlayStation 4.
Just drop it. Get rid of it.
Contracts at this point, man, they can't.
There was,
I think they're fucked.
What was the other game that we were talking about that just got pulled and it's just straight up not going to be released on PS4 anymore? We were talking about like a week or so ago. I'll find it later.
I don't remember.
But there is something else where they're just like, we're just not going to bother. It's not going to work. And I'm kind of on that boat.
Find out what that is. I don't remember that conversation at all. Like, at all.
All right. I'll track it down.
But yeah, track down what that is for us. But yeah.
Come out eventually, and I want to buy... My entire plan is just to buy whatever graphics card comes with it, and that's how I'm going to play.
You know they'll do that, right? Here, they'll be like, here's your $800 graphics card that comes with the free version of Cyberpunk, whatever.
Yep. It's gonna... That's why I'm good with them. Just keep pushing it back so I can just keep...
So you can save up for
it. Because if it came out tomorrow, there's no chance it's not going to work for me.
David, that Nightwire City is tomorrow at 9 a.m. That is like 12 hours away.
Dang, that's insane.
How can I keep entertained between now and 12 hours from now? I have like that ADD brain that most Americans have at this point that we can't fucking stay on the task for more than a couple days before we just give up.
You're not just completely mush? That's where I am.
What can I keep myself occupied with over those next 12 hours?
That are... now, technically, these aren't new releases because most of them already came out yesterday because we're a day late, but that's okay. Secret Government comes out for PC and Mac. This is a grand strategy politics game about leading a secret society that has ruled humankind from the shadows for centuries. Rewrite history as you pull the strings of fate and spread your influence across the globe, shaping the world's nations and future to your will from the 18th century to the present day.
This actually looks kind of cool. Do you ever play a card game called Illuminati?
This looks like 100% something you will stream.
I probably will. Have you played Illuminati?
I have not played Illuminati.
Okay, never mind then.
It does look fun. This does look something like I would enjoy as well.
Yeah. The problem is I think it's not out. I think it's in early access, which means it's no longer something I'm going to stream immediately. It is something that I will keep an eye on, though. I suddenly lose my voice.
Also out this week, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is getting a remaster called Rehydrated, out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
THQ doing gold with those licenses, man.
Hell yeah, 3D platformer action adventure. The cult classic is back, faithfully remade in Sponge-tastic splendor.
It is the time for 3D platformers. We were talking about that earlier. And this game has a greater than should be amount of buzz behind it.
People really like that old SpongeBob game, and it looks really good, actually. The remaster looks great. So there you go. Also out, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer comes out for PS4 and Switch, or it already came out for PS4 and Switch. Now this is pod racing. You know it. You love it. It came out on N64 800 million years ago, or whenever time was still moving, And, yeah, dude, it's the pod racer game back when we actually got Star Wars games consistently. It's pretty exciting.
I don't know if any of those games at the time were good, because that's around
What are you talking about? All of those games were good.
Really? When Star Wars Episode 1 Racer came out? Wasn't that the same time like Masters of Terrakaze came out?
Dude, isn't that the same time that like Rogue Squadron came out?
Different generation.
Okay, then is that at the same time?
I could be wrong. I could be. What, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer was that on N64?
Is that the same time that Jedi Starfighter came out?
It wasn't that good.
Because I'm pretty sure it came out either around the time of Starfighter or Jedi Starfighter.
I just remember this influx of Star Wars games around the time the sequels are coming out, and I was not impressed with any of them. You had Masters of Terraskaze, Bounty Hunter, the Starfighter games, none of which I thought were all that great. It was post Shadows of the Empire, which was amazing. Shadows of the Empire was good. And then there was this like glut of what felt to be B-tier Star Wars games.
And even then, that was more than we got now.
Okay, let's go down this. I'm of the opinion that Star Wars as a whole is now a bad franchise. Because there's only 4 good movies.
But it's fun.
There's only 4 good movies and like 11 or 12 bad ones. And somewhere over the line, once you start getting more good and more bad movies than good, it starts tainting the entire franchise. Up to the point when we got this weird glut of Star Wars games in the late 90s, early 2000s, Star Wars games were good. You had Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the classic ones. You had Shadows of the Empire. You had the Super Nintendo Star Wars games, which were hard as balls, but were fucking good. You had the X-Wing games on PC. You had Empire at War on PC. I think that was around 2008, though. It could be a little bit older on that one. But there was a good chunk of great Star Wars games. And then they started releasing a bunch of crap until Knights of the Republic came out.
Which was in 2003.
Yes, so there was this weird between 98 and 2003. I need to actually look at the list one day because I think I'm getting my dates slightly mixed up.
Rogue Squadron came out in 98, and that game was great.
No, but I had beef against the 64, though, to be fair. I thought the 64 was a massive step backwards.
Okay, how about Rogue Squadron 2?
No, none of the Rogue Squadron games are good.
All right, we're just done.
All right, let's move on.
Also, Assetto Corsa Competizione came out for PS4 and Xbox One. This is a sort of spin-off of the Assetto Corsa series in that it is not an actual sequel. It is a very specific, tailored, based on the Blancpain GT series. So it's like a specific GT3 racing game, but with all of the fundamentals and full simminess of an Assetto Corsa game. It is also going to be the official game of the GT World Challenge. So if you don't know what GT is, this is when they take very fancy cars, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Acura NSXs, whatever, and they put, all the liveries and wings on them, and they have those guys race. That's GT3. This is that game. Innsmouth Curse comes out for PC and Mac. This is a visual novel based in the Lovecraft universe. It is a text-based adventure game. Night Call comes out for Xbox One and Switch. This has been on Steam for a while. This is a sim visual novel where you're working as a cab driver in Paris, trying to talk to people and learn things because you're actually trying to find a serial killer who left you for dead, and you're trying to track him down. Octonaut comes out for Xbox One and PS4. This was difficult to Google because apparently there's a Nickelodeon show of a very similar name, but this is a retro side-scroller with an octopus, not based on the licensed franchise. And
nor Octodad.
Not Octodad.
It's Octonaut.
There's an Octonaut and there's an Octonauts. So it's,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the Brigandine, The Legend of Runergia, comes out for Switch. This is a endless fantasy war grand strategy simulation. That's what they call it. It's a kind of sim strategy. I don't want to call it a grand strategy because it is only on the Switch, and not saying that the Switch can't have that. It's just not as deep as what I assume you think when I say the term grand strategy.
Brigandine is an old franchise. This is a sequel to a game that I think came out like 20, 25 years ago, and I have heard of it, but I have never played it. Now, the term grand strategy is very loaded if they're using it in this case, because this looks more to be like Final Fantasy Tactics. I hear grand strategy, I immediately think Stellaris, Hearts of Iron.
That's why I said it.
Crusader Kings.
I have to taper what you're expecting.
Yeah.
And that it is a strategy game. It does have you like choosing your nation, and you're trying to get continental conquest and all that other stuff, and you're selecting a ruler, and you're actually changing the way your platoons are laid out, and it's got unit growth and it's got all this.
I
other stuff
do want to take a look at this, but it is low priority. But it's on my radar, which is better than I could say for a lot of these games.
That's fair. And that's it. That's all I got. That's
David,
the whole list.
That does it for new releases, which means we're at the end of the show. This has been GamePoints episode 223, and thank you all for showing up. We do stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, except tonight because, well, sometimes shit happens, here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. We appreciate if you can join us live, like Captain Ice Cold, Wise Blood Kool-Aid as we're closing out, so thank you for showing up there. If you can't join us live, however, we do put up the old copies of the stream over at youtube.com/GamePointsBC, as well on BitChute when sometimes BitChute works. The service is kind of crap, but I'm trying to get it to work. You can follow the show over on Twitter at GamePointsPC. You can follow myself, Stephen Brand, at CapitalistPig21. You can follow David there at Palshlife_Satori. You can join our Discord, link provided down below and in chat right now as I speak, as I fill time to get in the link down there. I'll be back with normal game streaming tomorrow, Thursday at around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 as well. And we'll be back with the next episode of this show, Tuesday, next week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope to see you all there. Thank you all for showing up. Stay safe, and until next time, we're out of here.